Carlin. Welcome back to my channel. Today's class was designed with runners in mind. So this is a really good active recovery, a little bit of stretching and strengthening for runners specifically, or even after an intense leg day. We're going to target the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings, and the calves a little bit. So whenever you're ready, we'll get started lying on our backs. Come onto your back, but place the soles of the feet on your mat so the knees are pointing up towards the sky. And if there's any discomfort in your low back, feel free to take your feet out wide to the edges of the mat and just let your knees fall in towards one another, allowing them to gently touch. Your arms can be at your sides, resting on your belly. Maybe one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. And we'll start by taking a couple deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep breathing just like that. Imagine the in-breath moving throughout all the different spaces of the body. If you're doing this class right after a run or a workout, allowing fresh oxygen to circulate throughout the body. Let the heart rate slow each time you exhale. Take 3 more breaths right here. When you're ready, we're going to bring our feet to hips width distance apart, about the space of 2 of your fists. Make sure your knees are stacked right on top of your ankles and bring your arms to your sides. We'll do a little bit of core activation here as we do some dynamic stretching of the legs. So it might feel good to just take the hands and grip them around the outside edges of the mat. And that'll help keep your low back planted down into the mat. So from here, we're going to use the right foot first. So keep the left foot planted down into the ground. Send your right foot straight up to the sky and flex the toes. So you're flexing the toes towards the face, almost really towards the right shin. Just take a couple breaths here. If you're feeling tight, stay right here. But if you're feeling open, you might gradually start to move the foot closer to the face. Really elongating the back of the right leg. And we'll start to move here. So point the toes, stretching out the front of the foot, and start moving the toes down towards the ground, engaging the core here. And then once your toes are hovering just an inch or 2 off of the ground, flex the feet, flex the foot, and reach it back up towards the sky. So as we move the leg down towards the ground, we're pointing the toes. And as we move the right leg up to the sky and towards the face, we're flexing strongly through the right foot. Do that a couple more times. Move at your own pace. Play with the breath here, maybe switching up which direction is the inhale and which direction is the exhale. See what one feels better for you. We're going to go one more round all the way through. Point the toes, let them reach down towards the ground, and then flex the toes, lift it back up towards the sky. And then take your hands, clasp them around your right thigh. Again, if you're open, you might move more towards the calf. Pressing that right foot towards the face, continuing to keep the right toes flexed. Take 2 deep breaths here. I'm feeling some shakes. And from here, we'll move into a twist. So just bend the right knee and just drop it right on top of the left leg. Let both of the legs fall off to the left side and let your gaze come over to the right. Try and keep this right shoulder grounded into the mat. And you can use your left hand to press on the outer right thigh, really stretching out that right hip. Couple deep breaths. One more round of breath. We'll slowly unwind the legs, make our way back through center, and then reposition yourself so your feet are hips width distance apart, your arms are long at your sides. This time we'll ground through the right leg and stretch out the left leg. So reach the left leg directly up to the sky, flex the toes towards the face or even towards that left shin. And just take a couple breaths here to start to feel the hamstring activate. Maybe that left leg starts to creep a little bit closer to the face and the stretch intensifies. And we'll start to move dynamically. So you're gonna point the toes and slowly move that left foot all the way down so it hovers off the ground. And then flex the toes, reach them all the way back up to the sky. Move with your breath, doesn't matter which is the inhale, which is the exhale, whatever feels better in your body. Nice and slow. Let's go one time all the way through. And then the next time the left leg is reaching up to the sky, flex the toes strongly, take the hands behind the left thigh and gently pull that leg in towards the face. Maybe you're grabbing more up by your calf to intensify this. Wherever you are, take 2 deep breaths. Beautiful, and we'll move into that twist. So bend the left leg, just drape it over the right leg. And we'll start to send the legs to the right, the gaze to the left. This time you can use your right hand to gently press down on your left thigh. Send your breath into your left hip. Create lots of space there. Just one more breath. And as you're ready, come back through center. Hug the knees into the chest. Take some rock side to side. Massage out the low back. And then we'll start to take our rocks up and down the mat. Rolling up and down the length of the spine. Make them a little bit bigger each time. And then eventually we'll just transition to a seated position. We'll take Baddha Konasana to make a wide diamond shape with the legs. You can go ahead and open up the feet like a book so the soles of the feet are facing your face. And take your thumbs to the sole of the foot and just give yourself a little massage there. Show the feet a little bit of love. Finding those pressure points with the thumbs. Whatever movement feels good. Make sure you get the outside of the foot, the inside of the foot, maybe the toes. And then as you're ready, just start to drape forward. Maybe use the elbows, push the knees out even wider. And as you're ready, we'll transition to a downward facing dog. So just slowly cross the legs, plant the hands, and step the feet back. Create that upside down V shape. And again, if you're practicing right after a run or a workout, it's likely that your legs are tight and your heels aren't going to touch the ground. That's totally fine. Consider taking a bend in the knees to get the hips up a little bit higher. And if it feels good to take movement here, go ahead and do so. Maybe pedaling out one leg at a time. Maybe you're just staying in stillness, focusing on lengthening the calves, reaching the heels towards the ground. Eventually settle into stillness. Lift the hips up a little bit higher. And on your next inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky, just to about hip height, keeping both hips squared down towards the ground. And then step the right foot outside of the left foot. Bend the left knee as much as you need to get that right heel as close to the ground as you can. And send your breath into your calf. Each time you inhale, imagine the muscles in the back of the leg getting longer. Stay here for one more breath. Gently make your way back through center. And then take an inhale to lift the left leg up just to hip height. And then step the left foot to the outside of the right foot, slightly behind it. Bend the right knee as much as you need to really reach that left heel down towards the ground, stretching out the calf. And breathe. One more breath here. And make your way back to center. Bend your knees a lot and start to walk your hands back towards your feet. We'll meet in a ragdoll. You can keep the knees nice and bent, just draping your chest over your thigh. You can grab onto opposite elbows or maybe interlace the fingers behind the back. Take a shoulder stretch. Even though we're focusing on the low body, we can still show the upper body, the head, the neck, the shoulders, some love. The more you start to straighten through the legs, the more you'll really feel this stretch in the back of the legs. Might be a little cozier on your low back to keep the knees bent. Wherever you are here, just let the fingertips fall down to the ground. Take an inhale, bring the fingertips up to the shins, lift up halfway. And on your exhale, fold forward again. Feel free to bend the knees. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale here. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhaling to lengthen. And exhaling to fold forward. Bend the knees as much as you need to plant the hands completely on the ground. We're going to start walking it forward to a high plank. This is a stretchy class, but it's always good to work the core. Pressing the ground away from you, pulling the belly button in and up, stacking shoulders over wrists. Let's breathe here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. On 1, lift the hips, find your downward facing dog. Bring the big toes to touch at the back of the mat. Take an inhale and lift the right leg up to the sky. Maybe lift it a little bit higher this time. And then curl that right knee in towards the nose. Inhale, lift it back up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, right knee in towards the right elbow. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, right knee, left elbow, little twist. And then from here, just bring the knee through center towards the nose and step the right foot in between the hands. Stay here in this low runner's lunge to start. Really focus on dropping the pelvis, sinking into the hips, and really pressing that left heel back. You'll feel a nice stretch in your left hip flexor, in your right hip joint. Maybe take some rocks back and forth. Use your breath to move here. And then when you're ready, maybe bring your right hand to your right thigh. Maybe bring your left hand on top of that. Stay here for a moment. Again, feel that left hip flexor lengthen. Maybe bring your hands to your hips, pull that right hip back and the left hip forward, square them off. And then bring the fingertips up to the sky. Again, feel free to give the shoulders some love here, taking an inhale to reach up. Maybe an exhale to cactus the arms, open the heart, find a little back bend. You can do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, cactus the arms, mini back bend. 1 more time, inhale, lift up. Exhale here, really sink into it. And then let the hands come all the way down to the sides to frame the right foot. Plant the hands and step the left foot outside of the right foot. So we're in a forward fold here. Feel free to just fold forward. Knees can be bent, especially that right knee. Let's get into the IT band a little bit. Walking the fingertips over towards the right side of the mat. Feeling this in the left leg. And then walking the hands over to the left side of the mat. Feeling a stretch even in my ankles here on this side. And then come back through center. Bring the feet to parallel underneath the knees, the hips. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale to fold forward. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, plank pose. Hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Bring the big toes to touch. Slight gap in the heels. Take an inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. Exhale, left knee in towards the nose. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Stay here, just bring the knee to center and then step the left foot in between the hands. Come onto the fingertips. Find that low runner's lunge. Really press that right heel back. Sink the hips. Find length in the right hip flexor. Couple breaths here. When you're ready, bring your left hand to your left thigh. Maybe the right hand then comes on top of that. Find your balance. Press that right heel back even more. Take the hands to the hips, pull left hip back and right hip forward. And eventually bring the fingertips up to the sky. Maybe find that same opening of the heart and the shoulders. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach. Exhale, come back. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, sink into it. And then let the arms come all the way down and around to frame the left foot. Plant the hands, step the right foot outside of the left, and just fold forward. This side will likely feel different than the other side. Try and keep all four corners of each foot on the ground. So try not to come onto the knife edge of your right foot. And from here, start to walk the hands over to the left, feeling the IT band. And then take it over to the other side. Really squeeze here, the inner thighs together. Feel a nice stretch around the ankles. And then come back through center, plant the feet parallel from one another. Take an inhale, lift up halfway. And an exhale to fold forward. Again, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plank pose, plant the hands, step back. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here in stillness, reset. You can always drop the knees and find a child's pose. Come back to your breath. When you're ready, make your way back to down dog if you went elsewhere. Take an inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky, and on your exhale, step the right foot in between the hands. Stay low to set this pose up. So bring your hands to the inside of the right foot and pivot on the left foot so that the pinky edge side is pressing down into the ground. And the heel of your right foot, the arch of the left foot are parallel. And then spin the arms up, bring them to a T. You're in your warrior 2. Allow that right knee to stack right over the right ankle. Maybe take your gaze to your right fingertips if that feels okay. From here, go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. Start to bend into the left knee, coming onto the heel of the right foot and facing the toes up. So you're flexing your right toes, stretching out the hips here. You can turn this from Skandasana to a side lunge by just planting the right foot completely and taking that side lunge to the left if that feels better. Hands can stay at your heart or come down to the ground. Couple more breaths here. And then very carefully, we're going to transition to the back of the mat. So pivoting on the left toes once more, so they're facing the short edge at the back of the mat. And then this time you can bring the right leg down, untuck the toes, and bring your hands to heart center. Find this low lunge. Take a moment here for your right hip flexor. Really squeeze the right knee and the left heel together as if they could meet in the center. And then frame the left foot with the hands. Maybe pick up that right knee, place it back just a little bit further for a half split. Start to straighten through that left leg, maybe bring the hands back. Keep a flex in the left toes or point them. You'll feel that more in the front of the left leg. Just take a moment here. Use each inhale to lengthen your spine ever so slightly, and use each out breath to fold a little bit deeper. And from here, go ahead and look at the pinky edge side of the foot. Keep the toes flexed. Just start to move the pinky edge side of the foot down towards the ground. Kind of like a windshield wiper moving to the left, and then fold forward from here. Notice how that changes the stretch. Gently make your way back through center. Take the inner edge of the foot, move it down towards the ground. Again, windshield wiper moving in the other direction. Keep the feet flexed and just fold forward. Your range of motion might have decreased there. That's normal. And as you're ready, come back through center. Point the toes towards the face. And then start to walk the hands forward, stepping back to your high plank and holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Yes, we're in downward facing dog at the back of the mat. So let's make our way back towards the top. Take an inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. And on your exhale, step it through in between the hands. Take both hands to the inside of the left foot. Pivot on the right foot so the back edge of the foot is parallel to the top edge of the mat. And then swing the arms up and around. Come up into your warrior 2. Take that gaze over the left middle fingers if that feels okay. Couple breaths here. Start to bring your hands to heart center, transitioning to Skandasana. Bending into that right knee, coming onto the heel of the left foot and straightening the left leg. Maybe it would feel better to be in a side lunge. You can plant that left foot completely, still bending into the right knee. More support by bringing the hands down to the ground. Might even get you a little bit deeper into the stretch to take away that balancing aspect of it. Just take a couple breaths here. My legs are feeling sore, so this is not easy. Just breathe through it. And then we'll make our way back to the top of the mat, pivoting on the right foot so the toes face the short edge of the mat, the top of the mat. And then go ahead and bring the left knee down, untuck the left toes, and bring the hands to the right thigh. Maybe just bring your hands to your hips, your low back, stretching out that left hip flexor. And then when you're ready, frame the foot with the hands. Maybe bring that left foot back just a couple centimeters and start to straighten through the right leg, finding your half split. Just take a moment here, folding forward or even staying upright if that feels better. Just play with pointing and flexing the toes, stretching both the front and the back of the leg. And as you continue to fold forward here, keep that flex in the foot. Just start to take the pinky edge side of the foot down towards the right edge of the mat, opening it up just like a windshield wiper. Continue to fold forward. Notice how that changes the stretch. Just keeping that foot flexed to protect the knee. And come back through center, take the inside edge of the foot down towards the ground. My range of motion is always a little bit smaller on this side with the inside edge of the foot. Just fold and breathe. And then come back through center. Go ahead and walk the hands forward, bend into the right knee, and we'll step back to our high plank. Last plank we'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees. Find a child's pose. Take the knees out a little bit wider than you normally might. Give your chest some room to just sink down to the ground. Open up the hips. As you're ready, we'll start to transition to a seated position, setting up for some forward folds. So we'll take a traditional forward fold, Paschimottanasana, for our first fold. So we're going to start with the knees bent and just grab onto the feet and just rest the head in between the knees. Your chest should be touching your thighs from this position. And it should be pretty easy to grab onto the feet since our knees are bent so much. And as you start to ease into this, you might start to slide the heels forward, decreasing the bend in the knees. And as you start to straighten out the legs, little by little, taking your time, you'll notice the low back starting to lengthen. You're not crunching in the low back to achieve this forward fold. And stop wherever you find your edge. So that's going to be different for everybody, every day. If you eventually come all the way down into this forward fold, breathe nice and deep. Know that it's perfectly okay to stay right here in our starting position. One more breath wherever you are, your deepest inhale and exhale yet. And then slowly come out of this. We're going to send both of our legs out long for our second forward fold. This one's pretty intense for the IT band and the outer hip. So you can always go to Janu Shirshasana for a modification. That's just bringing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh, squaring the torso over the right leg and folding forward just like that. So we're going to keep our right leg out long and we're going to step our left foot to the outside of the right leg. From here you can give yourself a little hug with the right arm, maybe take a little twist, stretch out the hip. And then we'll come into our fold. So start to shimmy that left foot over towards the right side. Eventually you want your left knee to be stacked on top of your right knee. And I'm already feeling this here. I'm feeling this in my right hip. I'm feeling this in my right calf. I'm feeling this in my left hip as well. So if you feel it here, you can just stay. If you'd like, you can start to fold forward. Maybe walking the hands forward. You'll feel this in both legs, but it should be a lot more intense in the right leg, especially the right hip and the IT band. Notice that I'm not trying so hard to touch my foot here. I'm kind of just allowing my body to drape forward, keeping my right toes flexed. Three more breaths. Only go deeper if you're using your breath to get there. Last breath. Start to come back to seated, upright, and then gently take your left foot out long. Maybe shake out that right leg, both legs. And then take the right foot, step it outside of the left leg. Maybe give that left leg a hug, take a little twist, stretch the outer right hip. And then start to shimmy that right foot over towards the left side of the mat so that your right knee stacks right on top of your left knee. And I forgot to say this on the other side, but if your knees don't touch and there's a little bit of space in between them, you can always stick a pillow or a cushion or a rolled blanket to allow that connection. So again, you might stay here, you might start to fold forward, just allowing the body to drape over this right leg. You're feeling all the muscles in your left leg start to lengthen. So on the other side, I was feeling this more in my hip. On this side, I'm actually feeling it more in my hamstring. So just notice where you feel the majority of the lengthening in the leg. We're just here for 2 more breaths. And as you're ready, start to come back up through seated. Again, take both of the legs out long, maybe shake them out. That stretch is super intense for me, so it always feels good to come out of it. For our final resting pose today, we'll come into legs up the wall. Get some blood circulation going here. So you can find a wall or just any space really. If you want, you can place a blanket underneath you, but I'm gonna take my hips all the way up to the wall, and then I'm gonna come onto my back and I'm gonna slide my legs all the way up the wall. So I don't have any cushioning underneath me. It might feel better if you have some. And from here, I'm just going to allow my legs to rest on the wall. Do whatever feels good with your hands. Sometimes I like to grab opposite elbows behind my head for a little bit of opening in the shoulders and the chest. And just bring your arms out long at your side or behind you. Maybe one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And just allow yourself to be here for the next few moments. can feel free to pause the video and stay here for as long as you like. If you are ready to come out of it, you're going to start to slide your hips away from the wall. I'm using my elbows to do so. Just hug your knees into your chest and roll onto one side, just awkwardly coming back up to a seated position. We'll take one final breath together. I'm going to sit on my shins, stretching out the feet. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, sigh it out. Namaste. Thank you for watching. Please comment and subscribe. Let me know what other types of yoga videos you would like to see, and have a wonderful day.